were just discussing much earlier, I sent you the definition, the Googled or the American Society definition of addiction. You know, it talks about how it's a chronic disease. It's an interaction between the brain's reward, motivation, memory. But there was one last line at the bottom of that definition, and it said the person who's addicted often ignores other areas of their lives to fulfill or support that desire, right? And that is why I said addiction, simply put, is a lack of control. That is your ability to control yourself when interacting with that thing that you're addicted to.
Yes. Okay. So now that we have put that out, what are the signs of addictions generally? Like, how do you identify someone that is addicted, whether it's other people or yourself as an individual? How do we identify addiction?
So let me start by saying that sorry, can you hear that? I told you I'm tired of my children, but it's okay. It's all good.
I'm just trying to get
no, the door is locked, but one of them, his voice it always transcends every barrier. I don't know how to explain it.
Don't worry, I can't even hear him.
Okay, that's cool. Maybe it's because I'm listening on that side. Anyway, so we're talking about addiction, and I was gonna say let's start by saying that there are different stages of addiction. At the early stage, you may not even know that you're addicted. At the early stage, it may just be some form of pull, a craving, something that you feel like doing, and you've been feeling like doing it at a repetitive level, whatever that thing is. Before I even go too further or too far, I should say, you can be addicted to anything. You can be addicted to a substance. You can be addicted to working out. That is exercising. Exercising is so good for you, but you can be, catch yourself, babe. Catch yourself. You can be addicted to exercising. You can be addicted to work itself, the joy, the fulfillment that work brings to you. You can be addicted to substances, nicotine, over-the-counter drugs, prescription medication, painkillers. You can be addicted to anything in terms of that substance, but you can also be addicted to something that is a behavior. That's where work, exercise, sex, pornography, internet consumption, social media, just generally being on your phone or chatting and, interacting, always having to interact with somebody. You can be addicted to, you can be addicted to sugar. That is the most common, most available, and most addictive substance in the world. Sugar.
That is what they write on. They addict you with sugar, and you keep on wanting to take more. That's it.
Exactly. So just to establish the fact that addiction comes in many forms. So even if you're not a smoker, as an example, yes, you can be addicted to exercise, girl. Even if you're not a smoker, or even if you're not using hard drugs, you can be addicted to your work or to exercising. I was telling you some hours ago that there was a time in my life, I would say even at the beginning of the lockdown, there was a time that if I did not sweat before sleeping, I should rephrase it. If I didn't sweat that day, I couldn't sleep. I would feel, yes, you can be addicted to your job. Yes, you can be addicted to anything. Pastor Sheks, you can be addicted to anything. That time, so I'm giving you a personal example. Around March, April in 2020, that I had established a workout routine. I was becoming more and more fit. I was looking at the body and I was like seeing those imaginary, those six packs that you've seen in your mirror, but it's not yet showing in your actual tummy, but you can see it in the mirror, right?
Yeah. And you can be
addicted. Yes. If I didn't sweat that day, I couldn't sleep. Because it was almost as though my body needed that release every single day. And I know that I know that medically speaking, you're advised to take rest days. You're not supposed to exercise all 7 days a
Exactly.
week. But there was a time I almost couldn't control myself. You can ask JG. 11 p.m. at night, I would put on my exercise video and I'd be like, I need to sweat for like 15 minutes. Just let me sweat. It was bad. It
Yeah.
was bad. Okay, so moving on. There are different stages of addiction. Early stages, like I said, where it's just a craving, right? A
Yeah.
craving, something that you do that you may not even recognize that you're doing it so so compulsorily. So I mean, I would say look out for clues like if there are any, if maybe there's a history of addiction to anything in your family, anything. If maybe you're particularly drawn to an activity or an environment when that where that activity is happening, or let's say you may not be addicted to smoking, but you really like it when people are around you and they're with cigars, right? It's an inclination. It's something that you just feel yourself drawn to. I'm not reading the comment because A, it will get me a bit distracted. B, I'm trusting that area. You're going to read the comments if there are any questions or anything like that, right? Okay. And then in that early stage of addiction, you find that you're doing some things which you know are not right for you, but you don't feel remorse.
Yeah.
You don't feel that tinge of, oh no, I shouldn't be doing this. Then you know that you're crossing a line, right? Now when you're progressing, you should now look out for activities or think about signs like if there's a lack of interest in other things that used to be important to you.
Yeah.
So, as an example, if you become so addicted to TV and you neglect the work you're supposed to do, or you neglect having a bath or brushing your teeth, right? Or you neglect consistently, you neglect your family members. If your child has to tell you, "Mommy, put down the phone,"
Then
that's
that's
crazy.
like that's
That's crazy. Or if your
yeah.
child has to say, you're always working. That's something to think about, right? If you are missing important events and you're like, don't worry, we'll get over it, or there'll be another time, right? If you don't think that, there's a negative consequence for your action. So as an
Yeah.
example, let's say it was substance abuse, something that a substance that you're abusing, and you can see that the sugar addiction is making you go high and low in your emotions, but you're ignoring those consequences. If you find that your sugar addiction, as an example, I'm just picking up sugar, right? As an example, is making you cranky, or it's making you put on a lot of weight all at once,
Yeah.
but you ignore the consequences of that, you know that you're addicted, you're in it. If you
Above
start to, exactly, if you start to alienate people around you and seek after people that do the same thing you like to do, that addiction. So you turn away your family, or you turn away people that you guys used to hang out and used to be positive vibes only, but then you start going and you're now attracted and pulled to the other people that you used to, your workout crew, your bike crew, right? Or this is no shade on anybody that works out. This is no shade on anybody that loves to ride their motorcycle, right? It's not a big deal. I'm saying, but if you alienate the people that were originally important to you to the detriment of those relationships, and
Yeah.
you're going to those that only feed your addiction or this new craving, this new habit, this new hobby that you have picked up, then you know that you're addicted. If you live in another world or an alternate reality, for as an example, if you're a video gamer and your world is wrapped around the people that you're playing the games with, buying the
Yeah.
coins from, all those things, and you almost cannot relate with other people around you, real physical human beings that are around you, then you know that you're addicted. So I mean, those are some of the telltale signs of being addicted to whatever it is, whether it's an item, a substance, or a behavior.
In my case, I think it's coffee. Let's not even lie.
Coffee, yes, yes. Some people cannot, they cannot, I mean, they cannot function in the first 2 hours of their day without coffee. That is the truth, but it is
Yeah.
not real. There's nothing that should make you so dependent.
Exactly.
There's nothing that should make you so dependent or
So
so
now
shackled.
yeah. So we've talked about like the early stage where it just seems like an ordinary craving. You're not really realizing that this is something that is you're tied to. So now what's the next stage after that? How does it start to grow?
It's I would say that it advances when you can see sudden changes in your mood as a result of being 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 in the presence of that thing or taking part in that activity. And by sudden changes in your mood, it can be good mood or bad mood. So as an example, let's say because you're watching your video game, now you're happy all of a sudden, right? Or because you're watching your video game, now you're sad all of a sudden. It can go either way. Sudden changes in behavior and in mood, sudden aggressive behavior. Someone takes away your phone, or for some reason, you forget your phone at home on your way to work. You can't function without it. So the entire day, you are in a cranky, messed up mood. You are irritable, you feel depressed. Whatever it is, that item, that thing, that activity, that substance, whatever it is that you're addicted to, if it is the one determining how you feel, you know
Then
that you're addicted. Yes, you know you're addicted. Also, I mean, I find that people who now reach the really serious advanced stages. And you know, because I know that there are a number of people listening, I really want to just sound this note of warning that addictions are not, they don't come as obviously as you think. You know, when we think about addictions, you think about drug addiction. You think about the people that look like they're on drugs. But sometimes we're addicted to even the simplest things. We're addicted to the simplest things, like picking up our phones the minute we wake up to check what the world has said to us, about us, or for us, or whatever. We're addicted to that dopamine hit that we get when somebody likes a message or likes a post that we make. We're addicted to when somebody says, "Oh, you're doing a good job," or "goals," or "she's my role model." You're searching for that form of significance and gratification, yes, and validation. That is in itself is an addiction. So I don't want us to discount ourselves and say to ourselves, "Oh, no, it's not me that she's talking about." Don't say that. Don't think about it. I mean,
you have said, it gives it such a wider scope, and it makes it even scarier in the sense that it's easy to just point fingers at other people that are obvious. Oh, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't have any vices, because people just feel like, oh, it's
vices.
either you're a drug addict, you're an alcoholic, or you like women or men or something, and if you're not, if you don't do those three, then you're all good. So it's easy to just feel like there's nothing that you are in quote addicted to. But if you sit down and think about it, or you don't even have to think so far, like even in this conversation, I'm sure a lot of people can realize, okay, I might not have noticed this before, but this thing really got me hooked on it, and I have to find a way to, you know, ration how it is I interact with said platform or said situation or substance or set of people. Because at the end of the day, these things tend to take us away from our main focus that we're supposed to be, you know, working on, and just distracts us from our main goals. Super scary though.
Exactly. So quick question for everybody that is listening, or I would say quick set of questions, you know, for you to think about. It's something for you to just immediately ask yourself. Have you ever felt like you need to cut down on a particular behavior? Have you ever felt the need to use more work, sex, social media, betting, gambling, chatting to uplift your mood or your general outlook? And if you think about these things, have you tried to cut back on some of these things, or something that you can tell from just from our conversation, right? You can tell that this thing I need to cut back. Have you ever tried to cut back but you can't? Or you find that it's hard? You could even just on the side, it just occurred to me, you could even be addicted to a person who is not good for you. And I'm gonna bust a few bubbles and maybe shatter a few tables, because some of us are in addictive friendships or relationships with people that not so good for you, right? Not so good for you because maybe you're depending on them for your peace of mind, you're depending on them for your sense of fulfillment, whereas you should be depending on God, or some people you wait for them to approve something you're doing before you do it, or it's an illegal or illegitimate relationship. Let's say it's like something outside of your marriage or covenant, or a partner that you're supposed to be with, right? So you can be addicted to a person. One more question. Have you ever had to lie about how much you use or interact with something? So as an example, if maybe you're in a conversation and you're talking about social media use, and then instinctively you want to say that, I don't go on social media on more than twice a day, and you say it, but you know it's a lie. You're always on your phone, you're always unlocking, you're always scrolling, you're always checking, right? If you've had to lie about whatever it is, whether it's drinking or smoking or social or sex or pornography or whatever, you are addicted.
You already shattered these tables. You already destroyed some tables, and those questions are really questions that we should ask ourselves on a daily basis regarding things that we feel like. Because I say a lot that if you feel like you already have to defend yourself about something, or you have to make an excuse for something, that on some level you know that thing is wrong, you know that you're doing something wrong. So
you got it.
For it, it's better to just, as hard as it might be, try to work on it, or try to find a person or a circle or an environment that can help work with you to make better that situation. Because if you know right off the bat that you have to make an excuse or lie or twist something about something, then
to make it look better than it is, to cover it up. Yeah.
So now, so that takes me to the question of being in denial. So like, how do you check yourself when you're in denial? Like, how do you snap out of it? Like, how do you just, do a reality check and snap out of denial, or work towards coming out of denial?
Well, I mean, if you've asked yourself some of these questions that we've just spoken about, and you are true to yourself, last week I hosted something called the Naked Chats, and I do it monthly. It's a closed Zoom meeting that people need to register for, but it's really about being vulnerable. And when you're naked before yourself, just think about it in a physical sense. And I don't want anybody to get any physical ideas, but just think about it. When you're naked, if you stand in front of the mirror naked, you can see yourself. That's when you'll be able to see, there's something behind your back. There's a spot on your neck. There's there's a cut on your wrist, or there is a wound on your foot, because you are naked. So you remove the mask and you remove the coverings. The same way you need to be naked when you're face to face with your soul and you're thinking about whether or not you're addicted. If you ask yourself these questions like, did I have to lie about something? Were there any negative consequences? Am I alienating myself from a relationship? Have I done or said things under the influence of that activity or substance that I later regretted? When you're asking is you. It looked like you broke up, you froze for a second, but I know you're back. The only person you can be honest with is you. That is why you must not be in denial. You must not, because I mean, the first step is even admitting that you have a problem, right? And even if you have to admit it to yourself, that is the most important person, because you are the person you will live with for the rest of your life, right? So you are admitting to yourself, okay, this thing seems to have a bit more control over me than I expect. It's controlling me. I am not the one controlling it. You know, so these cravings, when you've heard of stories, not just stories, but you've heard about how people that are substance abusers, drug addicts, people that are chronic alcoholics, people that are into hard drugs, they will do anything just to keep up that habit. They will sell things, they will lie, they will go into prostitution, they will do whatever it takes.
It's crippling.
Even if you are not there, even if you are not addicted to a substance, but you are addicted to a behavior, when you start to cross your boundaries, cross your values, right, in order to keep on doing what you're doing that is not right, you are addicted. Yes, you are addicted.
Deji, at some point he said, please off your mic.
I should off my mic.
Off your mic. You're shattering too many things. So like there's a question, yeah? So okay. I think it's Deji asked the question as well. He said, can some addictions be good? Are there good addictions?
I would say no. And you know, I'm saying that with all sense of seriousness, because by the definition of addiction, you have no control. That thing or that behavior is the one controlling you. So if you have no control and you are compelled, you see, an addiction is a compulsion where you are pulled towards that behavior, then it is not positive, because you are the one supposed to remain autonomous over yourself. You are supposed to be autonomous over yourself. Something else on the outside cannot be controlling you, right? You are the one in control. You as a person, you have a soul, you're a spirit, you have a soul, you live in a body. You should be able to no, I should say you should be able, but yes, that's the truth. You are supposed to have control over what you do, what you think, how you behave, because God has given all of us free will. Even God gives us free will. Right? So he gives us commandments. He tells us this is what he wants us to do, but we have the control to do it or not. You can't now allow a substance or a behavior to be determining what you do. So in my opinion, there's no addiction that is good.
Because last, too much of everything is really not good. Nul says, addiction to sleep seems to me like an underlying symptom of things like depression. That's addiction to too much sleeping. What do you think about that?
I would say it's the other way around. Because sometimes, and it's a symptom of depression. Sleeping too much is actually a symptom of depression, rather than the sleeping causing the depression. So, I mean, when you're depressed, you are no longer interested, or at least some of the symptoms, I should say. I'm not going to just make a blanket statement about depression, but when you're depressed, a lot of times you feel like you are pressed down. That's really where the word depressed comes from. You feel like you are pressed down by something heavy, and you are unable to come out of what you would see or define as a whole. And in order to do things that are regular, normal, day-to-day activities, such as sleeping and waking up. So sleeping is for a time, waking up is for a time, eating is for a time, working is for a time, right? That's the point. But people that are that experience severe bouts of depression, they stay in one activity and stay there without all the others. So,
Oh,
as an
okay.
example, people now sleep for so long. Sometimes people sleep because they also have anxiety. They're afraid of facing life. They're
Yeah.
afraid of the morning time. They're afraid of what will happen or what they need to do the next day. So they stay in bed. They don't want to face it.
Yeah.
That's also anxiety, which is a mental health disorder. But that's not what we're not.
That's not what.
Not this is not our chat for today, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so in answer to that question, it's the other way around. Most of the time, too much sleep is a symptom of depression, or it's one of the symptoms of depression. And
Somebody.
definitely there's something underneath. It's not just
Yeah.
sleep.
There's
Yeah,
always a root cause. And
yeah,
I think that's another thing that we tend to neglect. A lot of people just go out and be like, "Oh, you're alcoholic, you're a bad person," but it's not the situation you should be looking at. I feel that you should be looking at the root cause, because most of the time, the people, especially that go into extreme forms of addiction, are running away from something. There's something that it is that you're trying to run away from, and most of the time, it is in you. It is in your head, and according to you, in your soul. And you can't really go anywhere. You can't run away from yourself. So they try to block it.
exactly.
So what we're supposed to be trying to do is trying to get to the issue, try to get to the person, and not amplify the situation and make them seem like bad people. And I think that's one of the major issues that we have in this part of the country. We don't understand that mental health is a thing. It's a real thing. Like, it's easy for people to just, oh, you fell down, okay, put plaster. But they don't understand that, okay, I don't want to get out of bed today doesn't mean I'm lazy. It just means that there's something wrong. They just attribute it to, oh, you're just a lazy person. Oh, you know, get liver. And I think that even makes the situation worse for people, because you're not acknowledging how they're feeling. You're not trying to help them get out of it. So I think it's something that we really need to address on a constant basis. And
All right. That's
my
one of the
what I
reasons why I'm here.
yeah,
Yep.
one of the things I say is that don't I used to like feel like, oh, let me get to a very large place. But you don't have to have a large platform. It's just one person you need, the one person that you can reach, help that person. It's a ripple effect, like it goes a long way. So for each person that you know that is going through something, do the best that you can. Talk,
Correct.
listen, get help, whatever it is, but just understand that the little that you can do is actually very massive. It is a lot.
It is. It
It
is.
is.
It is. Just to speak on what you just said, I think when you find that there's someone in your space, in your family, a friend, a colleague, or something, um, that is experiencing any of these mental health disorders, whether it's depression or anxiety or a form of addiction or substance abuse, the most important posture is a posture of acceptance. The most important posture is a posture of non-judgment, of um, not attributing some form of negativity to that person's person. So that's what I mean. To the person, no, it's really about, yes, this is something they are experiencing. This is something they are going through, but it does not make them a bad person.
Yeah.
That as an example is the difference between guilt and shame. Because guilt is when you feel bad for something you've done, but shame is when you pull it on yourself and think that, oh, because I lied, I'm a liar.
Yeah, this is what I am now.
Right? So yeah, and that goes to the subject of identity. You know, you're not in any way bound or defined by the things that you did or you do. Right?
Funmi said, oh, Funmi, it's so easy to talk to you, and I'm trying to
So that
find. So Pastor Sheikh said, Funmi, it's so easy to talk to you, and people are usually judged. Addicted folks are often judged, and they keep their issues to themselves, which is very dangerous, because once you feel like this person is already going to judge me, what and they stay silent, they carry the burdens, and then it just escalates to something else, which is really dangerous.
And if you keep it to your chest, it just explodes. The thing about mental health or emotional health issues is that it's like a bomb. It's like tying a bomb to your chest. It doesn't help at all. It doesn't help. So there must always be a place, an outlet for expression. There must always be an outlet for expression.
Okay, so I have a question here. I'm trying to understand the question. It says, how does one get to himself? Does one have to create, I can't see it well. Does one have to create a circumstance to cover an addiction? I'm not sure, but I think what the person is trying to ask is that, do you have to create a situation that will make you distracted from the addiction? I think that is what the person is trying to ask.
When you're addicted to anything, you need help.
Yeah.
You can't do it by yourself because you already lost or abdicated your control to that thing, whatever that thing is. So as an example, let's use social media.
Okay, cool.
Right? So if maybe you find that you are addicted to social media, you have observed that you cannot do without picking up, and I mean, we're on Instagram, so we're not saying that social media is bad.
It's bad, yeah.
Right? We're saying that when social media, the reactions, the reward, the motivation for your life comes from social media, then there is a problem. Now, if you find that you are spending too much time on social and you want to work on this addiction, it will not help by, first of all, keeping it to yourself and saying, I'm addicted to social media, I will solve this problem myself. Sometimes, and I dare say most of the time, you need to draw somebody in, another human being, somebody that you can be accountable to. Whether that person is somebody that is older than you, somebody that you respect. I've even tried, I particularly, if for some reason I have a goal, there is a particular person who is my mentee that I speak with and I tell her, this is what I'm trying to do. Because I don't want her to see me finish. I will achieve that goal. Hey, my God. I will ensure that I get it done. But that is the mechanism that I put in place if I want to achieve a particular goal for myself. Because I know that that is enough motivation. Just the fact that I don't want to have to tell her, I'm sorry, 1 thing, 2 thing, the goat ate my homework and it chewed a piece of my hair, and that's why I couldn't get this thing done. So the reason I use that example is because accountability matters. So if, as an example, maybe you have an 8-year-old whose mouth is pen, 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 and you know that if you tell her that this is your 8-year-old, you tell her, mommy doesn't want to use social media or she doesn't want to touch her phone when we are on the dining table. You know for sure that your pen, pen, pen 8-year-old, she will come for you. Right? So you can be sure that you will put your phone down. You will not use your phone when on the dining table. If maybe it's a matter of, okay, it's a bit more advanced. It's not an 8-year-old you need. Pick up a friend. If the addiction is more advanced, let's say as an example, it's an addiction to maybe a substance, then you need a professional.
Yeah.
There are people that are equipped to help with substance abuse treatment and therapy. In some cases and with some behaviors like I've described, work, exercise, food, sugar, and all that, you can get a coach. That your coach will hold you accountable. They will be tough. Sometimes when my clients are talking to me, I say, don't hate me. You'll thank me later.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens. right? So you can't do it yourself. That's just the truth. You must pick another human being, and then it depends on the level or the that's the word, the level to which you're addicted and to what you're addicted to. It will determine the kind of person you pick as
Yeah.
your accountability partner to help you.
Okay. So now, everything that we've talked about now, the addiction, the various stages, how to identify, how to, come out and be like, okay, this is what I need to do, and just soul search and identify your issue and work towards it. How does this all tie with the soul? Because at the end of the day, like, apart from just identifying and working with addiction, you take it a step further as to how it affects the soul. So how does this all tie with the soul?
Right. Say my name. Say my name. Say my name. Anyway, I'm just teasing. So addiction, from my, I would say, experience or observance, it begins when there is a hole in your soul and you use the wrong things or activities to fill it.
Feel it.
Like you said, because of that hole in your soul, you are running away from something or running towards something. Sometimes people use work because they are running away from poverty. That is a hole in their soul. They may have experienced something so bad and like, I never want to be poor again in my life. Or I want to make sure that I attain a certain level of power or influence because when I was growing up, I never had this type of power or influence. Some people may have had a Cinderella story where they were the butt of jokes. They had step mothers or sisters or family members, right, that maltreated them. And as a result, they are working towards prosperity. You see, they're running away from something and running towards something because of a trauma, a hole in their soul. That it's not work that will fill it, it's not money that will fill it. Human beings need a connection. They need that. We are wired for connection. A spiritual connection to the supreme being is God. We need authentic social connections, not surface level. Hi, how are you? I like your post. Good job. Ah, babe is doing well. Rocking. Happy birthday. Surface level. No. We need authentic, deep connections to other human beings. We need a legacy connection to the world. Knowing that something you're doing, whatever it is making a difference or solving a problem. Addiction is as a result of poor connections. That's what I believe. Whether it's poor connection with God, poor connection with other humans, or poor connection with the world, or legacy connection. You become addicted to something because you are trying to bond, and you pick up that thing and you are bonding with it, but that's not the right thing to bond with, whatever that thing is. That thing is only just giving you a dopamine hit of some sort. You are experiencing pleasure and you can't get enough of it. More and more you increase the breadth or the amount of whatever it is, and that's, in that sense, is the only thing that is giving you pleasure, right? But let's connect it with the soul. The soul is made up of a few different parts, and basically, whenever I'm just speaking to anybody, I say that your soul is made up of your mind, your will, and your emotions. Your mind or your consciousness is made up of thoughts. Your conscious mind, your subconscious mind. It's the thoughts that, oh, I'm processing what I am trying to say right now, and I'm putting it into words. My mind, not just my brain, but my mind is controlling the way I am expressing myself, giving me language, helping me to raise one eyebrow, helping me to raise a hand if I need to express myself. Mm-hmm. Then you have your emotions, which are our feelings, or what we know as energy in motion. So you are happy, you're sad, you're disgusted, you're frustrated, you are excited. All those are emotions. There's so many emotions, a huge range of emotions, right? And sometimes we go up and down in our emotions. I know that if you've been listening carefully, you can see the link to how addictions can affect your mind, your emotions, right? And then you also have your will. I had a strong-willed child. His name is Andre. I want this. This is what I want. Sometimes I think to myself, this child is stubborn, but what I'm really saying is that he is strong-willed, meaning he sets his mind on something. This is what he wants to do, or this is what he wants, and he does it. Your will is that seat of decision making that determines purposeful action. When you are addicted and you cannot make up your mind and say, no, I will not do this thing today, that means your will has been weakened by the addiction. Can you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. You're no longer in charge.
Exactly. You're no longer in charge of yourself. And so, how does it connect to the soul? The minute you are addicted, it's like your soul is in a shackle. It's not something that is easily let loose. I mean, I can bring in spirituality and talk about prayers. I can speak about soul ties. I can speak about the influence of spirits. I can do all that. But I can also say to you categorically that we as spirits that have bodies, right, and we have souls, we must not allow ourselves to become addicted to anything, nothing whatsoever. This is SOD, this is a Bible-believing organization. So I'm free to say that we have a commandment that we are supposed to worship and adore God with all our heart, our minds, and our souls, right? When there's any addiction that is controlling any part of us, we have relinquished that ability to truly worship God. We've relinquished it to that thing that we are addicted to.
It's a paradigm shift.
So, yeah, it is. So let's think about it. Are you struggling with any type of behavior that is in your past or recurring? Do you now feel shame? You think that you're a bad person as a result of this action or behavior? Remember, I also spoke about a hole in the soul. Have you experienced any kind of childhood abuse or trauma that has not been fully healed or resolved? Sometimes it is playing out in your need for sugar or in your need for biscuits after dinner. The need that, oh, I need a midnight snack. I was up till 2 a.m. I remember telling you good night from my side of the world. And it did occur to me that, Funmi, you've been awake. Why don't you just take a piece of cake that's in the fridge or something? And I said, nope, I will not be addicted. I will not be shackled by sugar. It's sometimes as tiny as that. Yeah. Right?
That's why we don't eat it.
Yes. Or you say to yourself, I just want to relax. I just want to relax. Let me look at something on my phone. And you keep on scrolling. You are there for hours. Or let me even leave the table of social media. You look at your Netflix, right? And you are watching a series and you are there for 6 hours watching something that somebody else has made their money from.
Right.
And you don't have the ability to sleep. You don't have the ability to eat. You are not making money in those 6 hours. It's serious. Taking it a bit deeper. Did you grow up? Did you grow up in any environment that it was not safe for you to express your emotions? That can also be, a trigger for cravings and going in the direction of an addiction, because you find that when you're not able to express your emotions, then there's no safety. You're not vulnerable. You're not open. You cannot get healing. Sorry, you can't say how you feel and 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 be cared for. Right? You are afraid that if you say something, they'll say, ah, no, big boys don't cry, as an example.
Yeah.
Or, and even me, sometimes I catch myself, I've said that to my child before, and I'm like, you can cry, but cry for legitimate reasons.
Exactly.
Don't whine because you've taken away your iPad, please. Right? But some of these things and stereotypes that we have been subjected to or subjected ourselves to, those things lead to addiction.
My
Right?
light is acting up. That's why it's going on and off. I'm trying to sort it.
No problem. So I mean, I just want to, I was just going to say that, it's deeper than just the physical. It's deeper than you saying, I'm not hurting anybody. It's not disturbing anybody. It has no negative consequence. Yes. Even if you listen to me or everything I've said and you said, no, this is still not for me. But there is something that you don't have control over. Something that you compulsively do. Right?
Yes.
That is an addiction. And it is let me use a Yoruba, what's it called? A Yoruba way of saying it. It's not konshoju lasan. Sorry guys, I had to just, because there's no other way I'm able to say it. So what I mean is, it's not exactly. It's not ordinary eye.
Yoruba people are just ridiculous. Okay, so Lovett was asking earlier on, so what's the remedy for addiction apart from acknowledgement? Apart from acknowledging that there's an issue, what else can be done?
I love that. I love that. So, I mean, that would just help us tie it all together, right? Yeah. Yes, acknowledgement, admitting that you have a problem. And it's not just admitting that you have a problem or you have a challenge, but it's by admitting that there is someone you have pretended to be. Because that's what addiction does to you. You become a different person, or you have a different persona, right? You have a mask that you show to the general public, but inside you do something that is different. Yes. We talked about how if you've had to lie or cover up, or if you've had to make it better than it really is, you become something. You give into a different persona. So admitting that you have a problem, and admitting that in some cases you have pretended to be something that you are not. That's number one. Number two is being aware of your triggers. And you cannot afford to also run away from your emotions. Because sometimes you find that when you have some form of emotional reaction, then you run to that thing that you're addicted to. When something happens, something triggers you, run to that thing you're addicted to. I find that sometimes when I feel pressured with work, when I feel like, oh, there's so many things I need to do at the same time, then I feel, oh, let me just relax, give my brain a little rest by checking Instagram. That's not really
to something else.
Exactly. You're just jumping to something else. And it is not helping you. That is an addiction. So I'm sobbing myself and I'm catching myself. It doesn't help. It is an addiction because you are using an activity to give you release, but it really is not, because all it's doing is stimulating your brain. Yeah. All it's doing is stimulating your brain. Beware of your triggers. So that's step number 2. Beware of your triggers and don't run away from your emotions. When you're able to be more self-aware and see that, okay, the emotion I'm feeling right now is frustration. That's why I felt the need to take a stick of a cigarette. The more aware you are, the better it is that you can curb yourself. So for someone that notices that it's in times of frustration that you want to take a stick of cigarette, you shouldn't have ashtrays around your house. You shouldn't have what's it called? You shouldn't keep any stash for later on. You shouldn't, right? You shouldn't watch movies or series, or where people are pleasurably and they're enjoying their sticks of cigarettes. You should not. Self-acceptance for who you really are is number 3, I would say, as the next step. Not what you believe that you are, that is as a result of trauma or pain, or as a result of a mask that you have put on you, but who you really are, and that is a beautiful, unique soul. And I say that carefully. You are completely unique. We know this thing. We know it in theory. We know that there are 6 billion people in the world and no one else has the same fingerprint. We know all that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you truly, truly accept it as a reality for you, you know that your journey is different.
Yeah.
So even some of the things that I am saying, you may take some of them, but you must customize it to your own context.
Situation, yes.
Always. I could have the same, like I could have 3 clients and they could be facing the same type of addiction, but their context would be different, and the way and the recommendations, the way I would speak to them, the cadence of our meetings could be completely different because everybody is a unique soul with different contexts and environments and circumstances and paths. It's just a different combination every time.
It's like you're just stealing all the things in my head and just saying it out. So, because me too, I should just be a speaker too.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much.
And
like,
then,
it's so great to hear these things coming from you. Yes. Continue.
Are you ready?
Yes.
The next one is reach out to a professional and begin your treatment immediately. There's so many of us, and I find that I've been doing this thing. I've been a coach, like officially, taking clients and all that for about 2 years. And I find that a lot of people, they're not ready to invest in themselves. And it's because they do not see themselves as worthy. They won't be able, they can't say it out to you, but they don't feel that they are worthy of $100, investing $100 in 1 hour in talking to somebody because I feel somehow. No.
Yeah.
But if you ask them to take that $100 and use it to go out or buy a bag or, do something. I'm not, no shade to anybody that is buying bag. Hey, buy bag, please. Buy ring lights if you want, whatever. But invest in yourself, because you will live with yourself.
Yeah.
You alone. Now we're in a lockdown, right? Where are all those baths, all those cacks that you accumulated? What are you doing with them? Are they not stocked in your wardrobe? The car that you bought, is it not parked in the garage?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, I know Lagos, you guys are not on a serious lockdown, but here nobody's going anywhere. Everybody's packed. I can see my neighbors, all their cars, everybody packed. Because there's nowhere you're going. What is most important is you and your mental health. So the number 4 point was reach out to a professional and begin your treatment immediately. That treatment could include coaching, counseling, medication, or a combination, whatever it is. Reach out to a professional and begin your treatment immediately. Number 5, tell your friends, your true friends, about your decision. Right? Your true friends will respect your decision and they will be there for you if you need it. Your true friends will be there for you if you need it, when you need it, actually. And then I think I had alluded to when I was talking about, maybe I was saying something in point 1 or 2, that only put yourself in an environment that fosters positive behavior, not the behavior you're trying to move away from. So like I said, If it's a sugar addiction, remove all the ice cream from your fridge. Give it trays in your house. People that come to your house, let's say you're trying to cut down on your drinking. Let them know that there will be no alcohol. You're so sorry. There will be no alcohol served at my party tomorrow. If that is how, I know that may be hard for a few people, but if you are serious about it, definitely do that, right? Immerse yourself in groups, even virtual groups of people that push you higher, that talk about more positively impactful things rather than the things, the mindsets that will pull you down or that will take you back to how you were feeling when you were held down by this addiction. And as I said, have an accountability plan or partner, whether it's telling your friend or your spouse or your child or your coach or your counselor. You could even have your coach or counselor on speed dial. Depending on the severity of the addiction, sometimes, you have these group therapies, you have alcoholics and so forth. But the point is, have an accountability plan and partner of some sort. Lastly, remember that addiction does not make you the bad person. Sometimes you may backslide a bit. When I say backslide, as in, you may make mistakes, you may fall, you may go back to, some of these habits. But it's very important for you to pick yourself back up again. The Bible says that the righteous man may fall 7 times, but he will stand up again. It's important for you to stand up, because if not, you don't want to lose out on the progress you've already made, even if that progress is half an inch away from the pull of that addiction. You must always get back up again.
Definitely. Thank you so
much. I'm done.
Just is giving me life. It's giving me life.
I'm just looking at the comments now. Okay.
Glam Nena was asking about getting over social media addiction, but I think you already covered that in everything that you're saying. Somebody else said, are there good addictions, or are addictions generally bad? You already addressed that, saying as long as it's an addiction, it's taking control of your, rationing it. So too much of everything at the end of the day is not good. I'm trying to see. Yeah, somebody says, oh, Funmi, you're saying the truth. I think the person snapped a finger. Somebody said, Auntie, calm down.
I'm sorry. I have to give it to you. If I don't give it to you, how will you take it? I'm sorry.
I am Onofua says, addiction makes you feel that the lack of doing something leaves you incomplete. Like you mentioned about you're not working out, making you feel like you haven't achieved anything for the day.